some green tea. Pick up a melody. Give me some green tea. Take it easy. Give me some green tea. Then check out a melody.
All right. One more minute. I see a lot of people are already active in the chat box. So that's nice to see. You all welcome each other. So please keep doing that, and then in a minute or two, we'll kick off the session, and I'll show you what we got in store for today.
Show me your weapon bands, because that's what I like to see. Free me cheap.
All right, it's 4 o'clock. I see Don, you've also joined us. Welcome. Maybe good if you can just keep your video off until it's your real moment to shine for the market update. Great, thank you. So, welcome everybody to the Holland FinTech Meetup for October. I hope you can see the shared screen properly. I hope you can see me properly. If you have any comments during the session, please let me know in the chat box, and because I can see it as well, and I'm happy to engage as well with all you. So let's get started then with a brief introduction on what we're going to do today. But before that, a little bit of setting the scene from our side. So let's get to the next slide, please. Yeah, so nice little setting the scene for the meetup, because usually that's what our meetups look like. That's also the impression you got, is a little bit the vibe that our meetups have as well. It's always nice on a Friday afternoon, getting the ecosystem together and getting to the weekend with some nice pitches from the ecosystem, and also of course some drinks after. I'm afraid we don't have the drinks ourselves as Holland FinTech today, but I hope you took care of that yourself. My name is Michael Broijmans. I work for Holland FinTech, and I will be your moderator, your MC, which you like to call it, for today for the meetup. So yeah, great that you all can join here today. Very happy to see that a lot of people are joining already, that you're already nice and active in the chat box. That's always nice. Next slide, please. Let's look at the agenda for today. So welcoming words, that's what I'm doing right now. After this, our founder, Don Ginsel, he will walk you through the last updates from the last month, since the last meetup, about what's been happening in the fintech market, what are the numbers in the fintech market when it comes to investments. But I won't say too much, I'll keep the rest for Don. Then we will have 2 pitches. We have 3 pitches in total today. We will have 2 pitches first, one by Togather Finance and one by Nucoro. Then we will move into the monthly pub quiz. I'm sure that many of you are glad to see it's back, especially the ones that joined for the meetup last month, where we couldn't get the pub quiz working, but the pub quiz is back. So I hope you're all happy about that. And then after the pub quiz, we have one more pitch from Paywith.glass, and then we will announce who was the best pitch according to your voting. So we will ask you all to rate the pitches of the day. We'll have some closing comments, and then we'll wrap up the event. But we will still keep the event open for you to network with each other, to chat to each other, to even do video calls with each other through the different features that are offered by Hopin. So I think I said enough for now, and I believe that the next slide is already about the fintech market update, indeed. So thank you all for joining today. Don, if you're ready to switch your microphone and your camera back on, then I'd love to hear what insights you have prepared for us today.
Michael,
Yes, there you are.
Yeah, looking forward to update you all a little bit with some insights from the market. There's really been a lot of news over the past month, so I hope you're not expecting me to be complete, because that's quite a challenge, I must say. But I'm looking forward to bring you at least to the attention of a couple of items that have happened. Shall I just tell you to move the slides? Please move forward. Yeah, thank you. So what it's been quite a let's say since last month. I think we saw a lot of developments. Already last month we talked about the very strong IPO market, but first we saw now actually the first report of the Q3 coming out. It's a monetary report by CB Insights together with PwC. And they looked especially at the USA venture capital market, where we saw an interesting decline in funding, which I will show in a minute. Another event I think that's quite important to note is that the EU announced their plans for digital finance. It's really early on. They did over the summer they did a call for input. And now they've consolidated that into initial proposals for digital finance regulation. It's really interesting to see how very slowly they're looking at a larger definition of the use of data in the financial industry. And so you see that features like GDPR are actually increasingly also becoming part of financial regulation, which I think is really interesting and should also really create a more level playing field between financially regulated and non-financially regulated parties. But it's still really early on, and there's a lot of response still expected from the market on their current proposals. So I'm really curious how that'll fall together. And also we will be organizing some sessions to actually provide the EU with feedback from the market. In any case, two elements I think are really worthwhile highlighting because they've been anticipated for quite a while, and that's the crypto regulation. So maybe for the people that have tuned in this morning to Flash Friday, where we had Colin Groos from Revenue and Bots on the show, we already discussed a little bit what they think about crypto regulation. It's quite interesting. They take a really broad approach to crypto. But what is, in any case, a good thing is that they really try to stay away from the technology side. So it's really not so much focused on blockchain, but really about how you could actually, by technology or not technology, set up new ways of tokenization, payments, asset transfer, which have been perhaps less in use before, but technology allows for new possibilities there. And they're trying to really come with a broad framework to solve that. Hopefully, it's a big step up towards a European market where crypto is just one of the technologies that you could build financial services with without actually having to worry too much about being an outcast or not being regulated, which would make it much harder to actually land customers. So it looks like we're moving into the zone that cryptocurrency are becoming more regular, or crypto-based products, which I think is really useful. But it also means that actually all the time that crypto was also a way of avoiding certain regulations, like, for example, doing an ICO instead of crowdfunding or an IPO, those days are going to be past as well. We actually saw also that last week the founder of McAfee got a big fine for launching an ICO a couple of years back in the US. So you see that actually the whole realm of ICOs and that regulation is becoming much tighter. The next thing to mention there is the EU crowdfunding regulation. It's also been long anticipated because currently still country by country crowdfunding regulation is separate. And now new regulation has been approved. So it looks like we're going to move really a big step closer towards a universal crowdfunding market in the EU, which I think is quite a big achievement. And that's all part of the Capital Markets Union project, which I think in general is very beneficial for everyone active in the financial industry or in general businesses that do business cross-border. Well, I think it's probably, if you've read a little bit about the news, you've probably noticed that still IPOs are very popular. Even in the Dutch market, we've seen some IPOs or ideas for ICOs for IPOs popping up. SPACs are not so popular yet. For the people that are new to this concept, it's a special purpose acquisition company, which means that it's an empty shell that gets listed on the stock exchange with the goal to acquire another company. And with that acquisition, this acquired company actually becomes listed. It has been used a couple of times in the Dutch market as well. For example, with CM.com, which is a payment service provider from Breda, who actually used this, I think, a couple of months back to actually get themselves listed. And the reason it's very popular, especially in the US and increasingly in Europe, mostly London, is that it's much cheaper and easier with a much less lengthy process actually to get yourself listed. Of course, some investors might not like the process because they don't have much to say about the acquisition once the empty shell is listed. But at the same time, it's a nice opportunity for some people to participate in rounds that otherwise would not be available for companies like these. Because in, let's say, the bigger tech IPOs as we see them across the Atlantic, it's pretty hard for retail investors to actually participate. So besides the IPOs, which of course are still riding the wave of the stock market, has still seen a very strong recovery over the past months. Also, consolidation is beginning to pop up. Today it was announced that Euronext has made a deal with Italian stock exchange to merge or to acquire, which I think is quite an achievement, which creates a really big stock exchange and quite a European powerhouse. So that's quite extraordinary. We saw SIA and Nexi merging, two Italian companies, as well as that we heard after a bank merger also mentioned last month in Spain, we saw that the other banks in Spain are now also beginning to move and talk about mergers. We also see that this is still a topic high on the agenda of the ECB that is really looking to create much more international champions, where currently most of the companies that are regulated by the ECB are more classified as local champions and therefore have a hard time competing with Asian or American larger institutions that have much more international power. And of course, from a European perspective, they're trying to look at that competitive landscape and figure out how do you actually create a level playing field also on the international space. At the same time, we also know that large bank mergers might come with quite some trouble to integrate and really collaborate. So there's also definitely quite some challenges still there. So rightfully so, I think that there's still debate about whether that's the right shape forward. Also good to mention is, I think, the fact that we've seen, let's say, also part of the crypto becoming more normal is that we saw this week that MDAX has gotten a registration at the Dutch Central Bank. So that approval, I think, is quite a big milestone, and therefore it actually is the first, well, it's not really regulated, but it's at least a registered company that has, with the permission of the Dutch Central Bank, can work with crypto. Really also one of the big steps of making that a much more normal asset class in the market. And then one thing I think is just wanted to really briefly mention is what's happening in the UK. We've reported earlier this 2 weeks ago, I think, on how Brexit is increasingly playing a role in the fintech landscape in the UK. Especially when we saw that there was quite some money being moved out of the country, as well as that we still see companies seeking a license or headquarters outside of the UK to be able to be serving their customers across the North Sea. For example, I myself as well got a notification from Revolut that my bank account is registered now with their Lithuanian under the Lithuanian license rather than the UK license. So you see that everything is still moving there. It's not really clear yet where to go. So I think there's quite some tension still, and it's hard to really have a good understanding of where the market's going, especially since the negotiations are pretty fierce between the EU and the UK. But everyone's preparing for the worst, and that means a no-deal Brexit. What's interesting, though, is that also, I think, similar to what we saw in the continental Europe, is that digitization and use of digital means in finance has really been growing very, very fast over the past months since COVID-19 broke out. And that also has boosted open banking, as came out in a recent report in the UK. So UK is still quite ahead with regard to the use of open banking and banking APIs. But they're leading the way, and they're showing that the numbers are growing really, really fast. Next slide, please. Yeah, I just took 2 slides from the Money Tree report from CB Insights and PwC. It's interesting to see, I think, that funding has dropped quite a bit in Q3 2020, as you can see here. Of course, it had popped up quite a bit, but what is especially interesting, I think, is that, of course, given COVID and the expected downturn in the economy, it was expected that we saw a bit lesser funding. But if we go to the next slide, you will actually see that the number of deals, the number of mega rounds especially popped up. So the number of really large deals has basically of over 100 million has increased quite a lot over the past 3 months, which is quite extraordinary. While at the same time, it's understandable if we relate it to the amount of money that's being pushed into the market, and that we see also, especially given the negative interest rate climate, that quite some money is looking for a return and therefore is moving into more risky asset classes. So basically all the way up from government bonds that are currently not giving any yield, you see that money is being pushed down towards the riskier regions, which also means that there's increasingly venture capital available, which need to flow into the market somehow. And there you see that especially parties are betting on the winners, putting in loads of money, probably also with in mind that the IPO climate is currently pretty good. So actually making these larger investments makes sense because you will be able to benefit from that when you do an IPO. Next slide. Yes, this is sort of the last one I want to show. Is just nice to see is that every year the FinTech 50 is being issued, which is a list of the 50 most promising FinTech companies across Europe. And so I think it's always nice to see, because especially there's a lot of familiar names in here. Like, for example, last week at Flash Friday, we talked to the CTO of FinTech OS. We've got, of course, Bucks and Bank here, and quite a Form 3, and quite some other really cool companies that I think everyone should know about. So this is not about the ones that have the most funding. These are all by a jury selected as really impactful companies in what they do and how they do their work. Like Currency Cloud, by the way, also in here. And I think it's really interesting to see which companies there are. So I really would recommend you to go to fintech50.com and learn about these companies, because they give you a really wide range of the developments in the fintech market, as well as I think that there's some cool stories that you might want to learn from. I'd like to wrap it up. With that. After one remark, I think is. This summer also the World Retail Banking Report was issued by Capgemini and EFMA, and we had a very nice session earlier this week where we discussed the content of that report with 2 people from Capgemini. I would really recommend you to also watch that back. So if you go to hollandfintech.com website, you look back, at the recording, and hopefully you'll enjoy that discussion as well. And should you have any ideas on specific topics that you would like to discuss or have highlighted during this update or in a separate event, please let us know. And I'll take it from here, leave it from here, and please sign up to the Holland FinTech newsletter to really enjoy all the news that's out there. Looking forward to send you again some really insightful messages later today. Enjoy.
Thank you, Don. Maybe a quick question before you go. I see some of the attendees are asking if the slides will be shared after the session.
Yeah, let's for sure. Happy to create a small overview here that we can share. Yeah.
All right, great. Thanks for answering that, and thanks for the insights, Don. And for the people that have been listening closely, you might even have picked up a few hints for the pub quiz later on, but I'm not going to say any more about that. Okay, I'm ready for the next slide, and I think that means, yes, logging into Menti, of course. So we are going to do the pitches. We are going to ask you to rate all the pitches so we can announce a winner at the end of the event, which makes it much more fun, of course. But to make you able to rate these pitches, I want you all to log into menti.com and fill in the code 1389422. And if you do that, you will be able to rate the pitches that we'll be presenting today, and you will also be able to give us a little bit of feedback to some questions we will be asking you in between. So I'm going to give you a little moment to log into Menti. It would be great as well if you could give me a little bit of feedback through the chat once you're ready, and all signed into Menti. All right, I see Jacco is ready. Thanks for that, Jacco. Is there anyone who has not logged in yet? You can also leave a quick reply in the chat. If there's no reply, then we're going to move on to the first pitch. I can't see any replies, so I hope you all are logged into Menti, and then it's time for the next slide and the first pitch of the day. It's going to be a pitch by Eva de Groot, who is the new business manager at Together Finance, and Tony Smedley, who is the head of SME business development at Together Finance. Short introduction. Nikolai, are you able to share your screen? Have you found it?
Yes, I'm trying now.
Okay.
Can you see it now?
Yes, we can see it.
Great, I'll try to bring it full screen. Can you still see it?
Yeah, we can still see it. Yeah, perfect.
Perfect.
All right.
Great. Yeah, thank you everyone for taking the time on a Friday afternoon. Exactly, we're Nucoro. I'm the head of strategy at Nucoro. I've been with the firm ever since we started working on this almost 4 years ago, and was in a much more operational role. But now, as you said, yeah, I focus more on the partnership angle and the strategic elements around our proposition internally as well as externally. So what do? Nucoro, we power financial innovation, and it has to do with two things that we observed, and we all observed, and all of you guys know this, of course, over the last couple of years. There's a huge uptake and increase in fintech propositions along the entire spectrum of money management. And the things we focus on and we're interested in is saving, investing, trading, and wealth management. And here I've just put up some names for you guys that all of you know. These are the biggest players globally almost in these spaces. Revolut, how has definitely, and all the other neobanks as well, of course, have changed the game of how users save and accumulate funds. One of the biggest players in the US, of course, is Acorns when it comes to the game of investing. Robinhood for trading, especially over the last half year or so, is a meteoric rise, really. And then a big player in very different way of doing wealth management is Personal Capital, who is also now 12 billion of AUM. So on the one hand, we see these challenger and fintech propositions spring up along this spectrum of wealth management, money management. And on the other hand, we see incumbents not really being as able to offer these kinds of propositions. And the mere fact that these propositions exist, of course, show you that consumers are definitely drawn to different ways of doing things. And I just want to highlight two stats that stick out here of what this opportunity in saving and investing is really all about. On the one hand, you have and you see a stat here, is almost 80% of customers say that they're interested in receiving investment guidance from their bank. And actually another round about 80% are not investing any funds or stocks actively with their bank. So there's a huge demand, but then people, or a huge appetite to do something that people are then actually not doing. So the audience clearly exists, and those are existing retail clients of banks. Banks have these people in their audience already, and now they lose the market share along the spectrum to these other, among others, of course, these examples I've just shown you. And on the other hand, for a bank, this is a huge financial proposition. This is a huge financially attractive proposition. Here is just one stat. It's the ROE, the return on equity on different activities. Just taking deposits from your clients and having balance sheet provisioning activities, the ROE on average is 6%. The ROE of origination and sales activities, for everything around investment, advice, asset management, is 22%. So it's a fourfold increase over the return on equity you can generate with these kinds of propositions. And this is what the Nucoro platform is about. It's a cloud-native platform that allows you to build this next generation of investments and savings propositions. Again, I just want to quickly highlight what's the spectrum. So it starts with goal-based saving and investing, where it's all about engaging people to one, start saving, but then also converting them from saving into investing. Depending on the goals you have, saving or investing might be the better product or the better solution to get you there. Then it's, of course, fully automated investing for people who are already actively investing and look for the best way to go about doing this. And you can support them with fully or partly automated propositions. There's stock trading, again, coming back to Robinhood. One of the things we see a lot of interest in at the moment, these solutions and this product line, especially driven by the uptake over the last half year or so, where you give DIY investors a very exciting experience with ultra high engagement to execute themselves. And of course, at the far end of the spectrum is also digital wealth management, where it's all about enticing high net worth individuals. And this is largely service-based driven, the engagement there. So this is the platform. I don't want to talk about all the details, of course, but we kind of sit in the middle between the user experiences that an organization builds on top or already has within their existing online banking experience, of course. At the bottom layer, we have the integration to all the systems you need, the core banking engine, broker, custodian, KYC automation, market data, etc. And the middle part is, of course, the automation of the entire client lifecycle. So everything from onboarding the client, managing the investment propositions, proposing investments to them, the execution, of course, the actual execution of transactions, deposits, withdrawals, also the brokerage, of course, of the assets themselves, client management, all the operational aspects, billing, reporting, compliance, compliance reporting, etc. So that's the entire technical aspects of the proposition. But when it comes to the user experiences on top, we facilitate those. We have front-end references and UI kits that help clients build their own user experiences in these 4 different verticals: saving, investing, automated investing, stock trading, wealth. But in a more prevalent use case, you have an existing online banking or existing digital experience, and you want to integrate this proposition into that, and that's also, of course, possible. What are the drivers? What's the advantage of using our platform? One, of course, you increase your revenue. You can activate investors. You can convert savers to become investors, of course, or it's about the high net worth spectrum. Through the full automation or high degree of automation, of course, it's cost reducing, headcount reducing. It minimizes manual work, but also the potential for manual error, of course. The cost of ownership and cost of operation is highly reduced. And the scalability allows hyper-personalization. You're able to manage on an individual client level what otherwise would be based on human and face-to-face conversations or interaction through technology. And you can then achieve personalization at infinite scale almost, basically. And of course, the speed to market is highly increased compared to custom software development. Of course, the platform approach in itself gets you to market a lot faster. Again, just quickly highlighting what are the business results. It can be different motivations of why you would want to use our platform. It's about increasing revenue for existing customers by offering investments or saving or trading if that's not something you currently do, or attract a new market segment, attract a new customer segment. Maybe if you are an insurance firm and currently you only focus on protection products, but now you also want to offer investment products, so it's attracting a new segment. There's increasing engagement. Again, coming back to insurance, very interesting. It's a notoriously low engagement product or a sector, insurance. You buy a life insurance, the next time you hear about it is when it reaches maturity. That's 30 years later. So here, an investment proposition works very, very differently. You have very high continuous engagement. So this creates up and cross-selling opportunities. And of course, the engagement also increases retention. So having your brand more visible to the client should lead to more retention with the client. One case this is one of our first clients, and also one of the still the ones I'm most excited about, because it was quite an exciting time to build this, of course. This is a collaboration project between Ariane de Rothschild, so the Rothschild family of Switzerland, and ETS Asset Management, a Spanish quantitative asset manager. They wanted to build a private bank for everyone, a private banking grade investment management accessible to everyone. And so the problem, or the challenge, was to find a technology basis that would allow to launch individually managed portfolios for entry-level clients with portfolio sizes of maybe starting at around the 5 to 10K mark. If you think about how private banking normally works, of course, by the nature of having a private banker, it's not a highly scalable business. You're only able to do that for so and so many dozens or hundreds of clients per advisor or per banker. So the challenge was to find a technology basis that could emulate individually client-based or client individual portfolio management, and do that at scale for a, well, theoretically unlimited number of clients. So we used the Nucoro platform. On top, you have a new brand was launched in the UK. It's called Exo Investing. It's a standalone brand for a robo proposition. It has a fully automated platform configuration, so there's almost no human intervention anywhere. There's no advisors, no portfolio managers, none of that. The portfolios are actually managed on an individual basis for every single client. And then the front ends are mobile and web apps for the end client. Just some more facts about us. We have 4 offices now. We're in the UK. We have an office in Madrid where our tech and dev team sits. We have 2 offices in Switzerland, Zurich, Geneva. We're around about 50 people. That's us. And here's our story. But I think that the slides will be shared afterwards, so I'll leave it to that. I don't want to spend more time on that now. I think that's all. Thanks
a lot, Nikolai. It's a really clear presentation, really helpful. Thank you very much.
Great.
If you could stop sharing your screen, then my colleague can take it back, and we can also ask the attendees to rate your pitch of the day. Mm-hmm. In the meantime, I would like you to stay on because I would like to ask you some questions.
Absolutely.
The first question came in from Elizabeth Kleinveld, asking what kind of funds can people invest in and which geographies?
That entirely depends. So the platform, we're integrating with a range of custodians and brokers. Depending on what proposition you want to build, think of if you wanted to build your own, or a bank wants to build a Robinhood clone, for example, you probably focused on a universe of stocks and ETFs. If you're building a high net worth proposition, you probably also want to include more exotic assets like alternative assets of one commodities for sure, but also maybe even more exotic private equity or venture capital parts or crowdfunding assets, and much more complex derivative products as well. The platform itself is agnostic to the product universe. It largely depends on what you want to build and what audience is for, and which custodians and brokers you connect to that can offer you the access to that product universe.
Yeah, exactly. So it really depends on the companies that you're partnering up with to help distribute your solution.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, another question from Sandugash Sambinova. What is the percentage split of your customers base between B2B and B2C? And are you targeting more B2B?
No, we're fully B2B. This is not a B2C business. The platform we're a B2B company, of course. The Exo Investing is a client of the Nucoro platform who has used the Nucoro platform to build their robo proposition. So we don't have any B2C clients at all.
All right. 2 more questions. One from Harm Arts. Can you plug in different KYC solutions and support custom KYC solutions?
Yes, absolutely. So we work with, again, a range of partners there. It's we work with Jumio, we work with Onfido, GBG. All of them are pre-integrated with the platform. So again, depending on what you want and what your use case is for the proposition, but also the geography you operate in, because some of them have a better footprint in some markets than others. So it's a matter of choosing the right partner for the offering you want to put together, basically. But again, the platform orchestrates the process. The connections then depend on whether you have a preferred party and what it is you want to build.
All right, very clear answer. Last question from Harkishan Bania. The question is about regulations for different countries, but do you handle them yourselves, or is that the responsibility of the companies you partner up with?
Yeah, we are a technology provider, so the responsibility for the regulated activities always lies with the client. We just provide you with the tech to execute your activity. Okay,
very clear. All right, thanks, Nikolai. There are a few more questions coming in, but we have to move on to the next pitch. So you can also yourself take a look at the chat and see if there's anything you can answer.
Yeah, sure.
Great, great. I'd like to thanks a lot for your presentation, and hope to see you in the chat. And then
thank you, guys.
Then it's back to so first of all, if you can go back to Mentimeter, you can rate the pitch. And we'll also ask you a little question about your experience so far for the meetup. So if you could do that, that would be great. And then I think it's time to move on to the next pitch, or the previous pitch, if you want to be precise. Eva, have you got it set up?
I'm still here. I'm still here.
Great, great.
So hopefully Tony is going to share his screen.
Yeah.
And I made just very clear why I'm in the sales team and not in our techies team.
Exactly, exactly.
I have to just go out and tell our story, and that's it.
Yeah, yeah, indeed. And leave the technical issues to the other people.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
Can you see my screen, or am I going to have the same problems? I'm trying.
I can't see it yet.
Okay, let me unsave.
Yeah, sure. This is the moment of truth, of course. No pressure, no pressure. Yeah, we can see the screen share.
You can see screen share, but not my screen. Okay, then. So
right. I think we can see everything that you're seeing. So if you open the screen, then we'll be able to see that as well. Or you can also choose to cast only a tab or a program separately.
Yeah.
Are you seeing that?
And not just yet. Now something's coming up. Yeah, we can see what you're seeing again.
Okay, so how do I get it? Do you just get the PowerPoint?
Yeah, just open the PowerPoint, put it on full screen, and we're ready to go. And then I think Eva can kind of guide you when it's time for the next slide. Yes, perfect.
Yes, great.
All right. Good luck, Eva. Good luck, Tony. Talk to you
Thanks.
soon.
Well, okay. For this first slide, together, and we want to accelerate the business. We are focusing on SMEs and with our FinTech solution. Can you move to the next slide, please, Tony? How do we support the SMEs? We believe that helping an SME to manage their cash flow is so much more than only raising funding, which we do by their invoices. An SME also needs to know what customer they are dealing with. Do they pay their invoices regularly? What happens if a customer suddenly becomes unable to do so? Also, we think that they need support in managing their administration concerning these outstanding debtor invoices, so they can focus on on running their own business. And especially the current economic situation created by the pandemic, of course, means that the assistance that our Together platform provides them is extremely relevant for them. So we provide both the funding the financial part, but also a platform with these additional benefits to the SME market, B2B. Let me show you how this works for a little bit. Tony, next slide, please. For example, in our platform, the SMEs are able to do a credit check before they agree to supply a product or service. It's important for them to know if their customer is creditworthy. Having the power to check these out quickly allows an SME to make an informed decision upon supplying or not to a customer, or make specific contractual arrangements if needed upfront. The responses to his credit check, we have a connection with our credit insurance, up to 50K instantly. Larger limits could be 24 hours, also depending on the location of the debtor. International debtors can be checked, also with a short delay in response, of course. And this provides the SME the ability to trade safely in their home market, but also in also abroad. Tony. They can check the credit limit, so they know for which amount they are covered by our insurance. We purchase the invoices up to this limit, so they know exactly how much invoices they can upload in our system. Should their customer not be able to pay the invoice for financial reasons, bankruptcy, for example, our client will be covered by our credit insurance, and no invoices will have to be repurchased by our client. And again, this all will be handled and supported by our platform, as you can see. Tony? This one shows an actual debtor card in our system. We understand that that SMEs set up their businesses because they're good at something, manufacturing items, providing services, whatever they do. This is the reason they set up their business in the first place. They do not have a lot of time to manage their sales invoices. This can lead to delays in payment, and this can cause a cash flow problem. Together provides a disciplined and automated approach for their credit control or credit management. We will send out letters. Tony, can you push the button again? Yeah. We will send out letters digitally, sent by post, directly after due date of the invoice, of course, and later on as the invoices becomes more overdue. The client is kept up to date within our system. He knows how well his debtors are paying, and he can also choose to, for example, not to supply anymore or not to supply any further until these outstanding invoices are paid. All our communications are in the name of our client, in the name of the SME, which means that their customers know nothing about our involvement. And this means that the SME entrepreneur can maintain the relationships with their customers and keep their focus on their businesses together. Tony, thank you. So, showing you just a few of the features, of course, of our Together platform. We believe that this can make life easier for a lot of SMEs in the Dutch markets. To enable our client to keep on top of all these activities, of course, we have a nice dashboard, as you can see in this slide. We have action prompts. They can look up management information, and so they can see what needs to be done. They have this information at their fingertips, so they can refer to it anytime they want to, when they have a gap in their normal business activities. We believe our solution helps them to be a lot more efficient, and for many SME entrepreneurs means this means probably that they, for example, have their Sunday afternoon back. As a summary, Together Finance, compared to other financial solutions, yes, we provide a financial solution by invoice financing, but we offer so much more. We love all the green checking the boxes. We believe that with our Together platform, we can unburden and support the SME entrepreneurs so they can focus on their own business and on their growth. This overview shows what we offer versus other financial solutions. Together provides the full package, including the insurance, including credit management, and including cash flow management. And we believe this sets us apart from the competition in the invoice financing market. Tony? Meet my sales and marketing team. Also, my contact details are in here. Thank you very much for listening. And let me know if you want to discuss any possibilities, either for your own company or maybe for a relationship. And just let me know. And maybe there are some questions.
Thank you very much, Eva. That's glad we could get it up and running because it was really insightful. Insightful presentation. No worries, no worries. We do have. First of all, I would like to ask Tony if you could stop sharing the screen. Then my colleague can take it over again, because I would like to highlight that if everybody can just go to menti.com and vote for the presentation, that would be great. And in the meantime, there are quite some questions coming in through the chat, Eva, so I will see which ones I can ask for you, and for you, Tony. Let's see. So first question was, what is the name of this company? Well, that's Together Finance. Yeah. I can answer that one.
There's something missing from our presentation. Yeah.
Then the next question from Jacco Play is, what is your basis for the credit check?
Trying to do a little bit understand the basis of the question here, but I think what we're getting at here is, from a credit check, we will do two forms of credit check. We'll work with a credit reference agency, and we'll be looking at generating a credit limit, i.e. that amount that they recommend an SME should trade up to. And we will also work with a credit insurer to provide a credit insured limit. So that means if the SME trades up to that limit, should the invoice not be paid because the debtor is in bankruptcy, for example, then they will get the full amount of their invoice paid. So we are looking for speed with a credit reference agency, but we can also get quick references with quick limits from the credit insurers too. Hopefully that answers Jacob's question.
All right, I think so. Otherwise, we will see in the chat box.
Okay.
There are a few more questions. One that's really interesting right now is is by Sandugash Sambinova. In a situation when there is a high solvency and liquidity risk for many SMEs like today, do you think there is a high risk for your solution, as well as many companies may not be able to pay?
I think our solution is especially suited to this type of economic situation. Traditionally, businesses will check on the credit worthiness of the customers they're going to deal with by looking at their accounting information. But I strongly believe that if you're looking at a set of accounts from, say, December 2019, they're not really going to give you much of an informed view of how the business may have been trading through the period since March to now. And also, even if you're seeing management information from your customer for, say, June, that still is probably not a great indication of where their trade is going to go and if they're going to be able to pay you in the future. By using our facility with the credit reference agency and the credit insurers, they're reacting to current payment data, not accounting information. So if an SME isn't paying now and is in default, then their limit can be adjusted downwards accordingly. So it's very much more real time. And of course, if we do get a credit insured limit and that SME customer fails, then our client is protected by the value of the credit insured limit. So that invoice will be paid.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, great. That's a very clear answer. Thanks. Let's see, there are quite some more questions, but I would suggest, well, I think we have time for one more, and then I suggest that you answer the other questions in your own time in the chat afterwards.
Yeah,
Last one from Angela Giakanovic. I hope I'm saying that right. What is your pricing strategy?
The pricing strategy, the way that we operate on a pricing is that we will charge a price per day on the amount that's outstanding. So if we fund an invoice and it takes 30 days to pay, it's 30 times the daily price, and that's an all-in price. So that includes the cost of funding, that includes the cost of credit insurance, then cost includes the access to the searches and the credit limits and the benefits of the platform. So we charge one price. Many of our competition will charge different variations of fees, setup fees, management fees. Ours is an all-inclusive price.
Right. Okay. I think that's clear. Thanks, Tony.
Okay.
So yeah, there's still some questions. Please feel free to answer them in the chat. And thank you, Eva. Thank you, Tony.
Thank you.
And talk to you soon. Thanks. Okay. So I hope you all went to menti.com and filled in your rating for this presentation and also answered the follow-up question in Menti. And then I think it is time for the pub quiz. So yeah, there we go. That's the Kahoot sign. I think it's best if I start sharing the screen right now. Let's see. Yeah, it isn't very easy. I get it. Kahoot. All right, this should be it. So please, I hope you're all seeing the screen. I hope it's all maximized for you. Then the next steps to do are going to www.kahoot.it, and then once there, fill in the game pin, which is 1798936. And then you are logged in for the pub quiz, and you can give yourself any creative name that you'd like. You could represent your business. You could show a little bit about your personality in the name, whatever suits you. See some nice names popping up already. Harsh, Young Delicious, Jack, who would that be? Young Delicious. So please, I will wait for you, for all of you, to log into the pub quiz. A few notes before we get started. I made the pub quiz myself, and I put in quite some tricky questions. So just so you are warned beforehand, it's not going to be a super easy pub quiz. But we will be testing your knowledge of well, the most recent fintech updates, actually from the last week, the last 2 weeks. I see we have 10 people there. Rudolph, Yo-Yo, Pruned, Cobra. Only 10 sign-ups so far, but I see there are quite some more people who are attending today. So I will wait a few more minutes and give you the time, because you don't want to miss this. And of course, the winner of the pub quiz will get a nice gift as well from Holland FinTech. So extra reason to join. And if you do really badly, we'll never know. We won't see the names at the bottom. We'll only see the names at the top. So there's not really a downside, only an upside. And I'm happy to see that more names are coming in. We are with 19 players right now. I think still a few more people can join. Let's see if there are any questions in the chat so far. Messages. Let's see. All right, well, we're 19 people. Are there still people trying to log in that are not logged in? Or having difficulties? Nice, I still see some more people coming in. Good that we waited for Bombastic. That sounds very promising. With 21, can we get it up to 25? I'll give it a few more seconds. And don't lock your screen. If you're on your phone, don't lock your screen, because that will automatically take you out of the session if you lock for too long. All right, well, 22 people. I think we have to get started, because I think I've given you enough time to log in. So just a quick explanation how it works. You will see the question on the screen in Hopin. So you will not see it. You will not see the question on your mobile or where you logged into Kahoot. You will see it on the screen in Hopin. I will read the question as well. you have to select the answer only on the Kahoot through your mobile phone or through your website, whichever you're using. That's where you select the answer and you read the question and hop in. So I hope that's clear. And the faster you get the question right, the faster you answer, the more points you'll get. You have to get it right, of course. I think it's time to get started. So October Meetup, question number 1. Nexi and SIA have merged into Europe's largest paytech, creating a combined market value of how much? Is it red, 15 million euros? Is it blue, 150 million euros? Is it orange, 1.5 billion euros? Or is it green, 15 billion euros? So Next and SIA, they're both Italian. They combined, I think, one's a payment company, one's an investment company, into the largest paytech. See, almost all answers have been received, and the answer is indeed a whopping 15 billion euros of market value. So 2 Italian companies really strengthening their forces. Now let's see who got that question right. TVV is up on top with 845. He got the question right and answered quickly. Green Tea is second, close second. Let's continue. Question number 2. The Swedish Central Bank and the European Central Bank are partnering up to support intercurrency transactions. How? By red, converting krona to euro. By blue, reducing transaction fees. Yellow, making them real time. Or green, creating a sandbox for fintechs. How are they supporting intercurrency transactions? So transactions between different currencies. You have 3 seconds left to submit your answer. And indeed, by making the intercurrency transactions real time, I think they have projected to, they have planned to get it done by early 2022. But exciting, because that means you can instantly pay between different currencies. At least first between the euro and the krona, and hopefully after that between more currencies as well. Let's go to the scoreboard. And Yo has taken first place with TVV in a close second. And then a big gap between number 2 and number 3. Let's see what question 3 has for us in store. The London Stock Exchange agreed to sell Milan-based exchange Borsa Italiana for 4.3 billion euros to who? Is it to red, to Euronext? Is it to blue, the New York Stock Exchange? Is it to yellow, to Apple? Or is it to green, to Refinitiv? So who did the London Stock Exchange sell the Milan-based exchange to? Who did they agree to sell to? I think that's where they are right now. Indeed, happy to see that most of you had that right. The answer is Euronext. I see one person also thought it was Refinitiv. It's actually funny because Refinitiv is part of the story. London Stock Exchange is aiming to acquire Refinitiv, and to do so, they need to sell Borsa Italiana first, and that's why they're in this process for a large part. That's what they say anyway. Back to the scoreboard. Yo is still on top. TVV is close second. Green Tea is also climbing the charts, third place. Happy to see that. And the Ministry is also in top 5. It's good to test the knowledge of the Ministry now and again. All right, question number 4. Crowd equity fundraising platform Crowdcube is merging with which other fundraising platform? Is it red, Seedrs? Is it blue, Symbit? Is it yellow, Morgan Stanley? Or is it green, Lendahand? So with which other fundraising platform are they merging? And you have 5 seconds left to submit your answers. And indeed, the answer is Seedrs. I see most of you guessed Symbit. Was a good guess, but it also shows that you're not all the way up to date on the fintech news, because the answer was Seedrs indeed. So let's see how that results in the scoreboard. Yo is still on top. Maurits is coming in close in the second place. George is up there. TVV is fourth, and Young Delicious is also climbing the charts, but still has to bridge a little gap. All right, I think we are at question 5. One day after announcing the merger, Seedrs revealed their 2019 financials. What was their profit or loss? Is it red, a profit of £1.3 million? Is it blue, a loss of £0.8 million? Is it yellow, a profit of £2.6 million? Or is it green, a loss of £4.6 million? 5 seconds left to submit your answers. I see we have most answers in. And indeed, it was a loss of £4.6 million. So I think, personally, I think this is quite funny, because the previous question showed that Crowdcube and Cedars are merging, and one day after they announced the merger, Cedars revealed their 2019 financials with a loss of £4.6 billion. So maybe that's how it goes these days with tech-driven companies. But I thought it was quite funny. Let's see, take a look at the scoreboard. So George has taken first place. Maurits still securing the second place. Young Delicious climbing the charts to third place. All right, ready for question 6. Let's see. This week, the Dutch Central Bank officially registered the first provider of crypto services in the Netherlands. Who is this provider? Is it red, Block Data? Is it blue, Amdax? Is it yellow, Binance? Or is it green, Kraken? I will let you select your answer in peace, because I feel that it's getting more and more exciting. And indeed, the answer is blue, Amdax. Actually, every one of you had to get this right, because Don also mentioned this in the FinTech Market Insights update. Scoreboard, Maurits has taken the first place. I believe TVV was second, completely fell off the scoreboard. Young Delicious taking his place, Jack in there, Yo, and the Ministry is also showing their knowledge in a nice way. Question number 7. Japanese electronics giant NEC will purchase which banking software developer for 2.05 billion Swiss francs? Is it red, Microsoft? Is it blue, Avaloq Group? Is it yellow, Finastra? Or is it green, Temenos? So they are paying 2.05 billion Swiss francs for the banking software developer. Which one is it? Indeed, the answer is Avaloq Group. And most of you had that right. Let's see who had that right in the top 5. Young Delicious is climbing all the way to the top. The Ministry is on second place. George is third. Maurits fourth. And Rudolf is in the top 5, fifth place. Next question. Question number 8. According to the OBIE, how many people are using open banking enabled products in the UK? Red, there is no open banking in the UK yet. Blue, 1 million people. Yellow, 2 million people. Or green, 5 million people. So how many people are using open banking in the UK? 3 seconds left to submit your answer. And the faster you answer, the more points, if you get it right, of course. Indeed, the answer is 2 million people. And the OBIE, they were quite pleased with that, because I think in January it was still only 1 million people. So they grew in a little over half a year. They grew to 2 million people using open banking enabled products. And the people who thought it was red, there is no open banking in the UK yet, I suggest reading a few of our Holland FinTech newsletters before the next meetup. Next question. And Maurits has taken the number 1 spot. Young Delicious dropped to 3. George is taking the second place. Rudolf is on a hot streak, and the Ministry is still in the game. Question number 9. 2 questions left. Family-friendly money management platform Greenlight recently raised how much at a $1.2 billion valuation? Did they raise $215 million for red? Did they raise $470 million for blue? $900 million for yellow? Or $1.3 billion for green? How much did they raise for a $1.2 billion valuation? Yes, it's getting exciting. I can feel it too, ladies and gentlemen. Indeed, the answer is $215 million was what they raised. Now they are valued at $1.2 billion. Just a quick note to the people who thought it was $1.3 billion that they raised. Usually, if you raise money, you will be worth more than you raised, because you already have some worth. And if you raise more than your valuation, then something is definitely going wrong. So it might be good to look into that as well. Next question. Oh, first the scoreboard, of course. Young Delicious has taken the top spot. Let's see if he can keep the top spot for the last question, because he will be asked to also to present himself or herself. You never know, because we need to know who we will have to send a little gift to. And the Ministry is coming very close as well. Question number 10. I hope you are ready, ladies and gentlemen. According to EY, UK banks are moving assets to the EU ahead of Brexit. How much have they moved this far? Is it $700 billion, $1 trillion of assets blue, $1.6 trillion of assets yellow, or $1 million of assets green? I hope you get the joke. A little Austin Powers reference. In the meantime, back to the question. Indeed, $1.6 trillion dollars of assets have been moved by UK banks to the EU ahead of Brexit, which is a whopping amount. Now let's see in the top 5 who got that right. And we're going to the podium, ladies and gentlemen. Third place with a score of almost 5,000 is Jack. Congratulations, Jack. Well done. Second place is the Ministry, very close to first place. And first place is Young Delicious. Congratulations, Young Delicious. Let me see if I can stop sharing the screen right now. All right. And I'll get you guys back in the screen. I hope my colleague can start sharing our slides again. And then I can ask the winner to say a little bit. So the winner was Young Delicious. I'm not sure if you are here in the chat box. If you're one of the speakers, of course, you can use this moment to say a little something. If you're not one of the speakers, then I would refer to the chat to share your name, share your contact details, maybe even share a little thank you letter to the audience to let us know how you got this knowledge. Anyway, congratulations. And let's move on with the rest of the program of the day. So next slide, please. So I hope you still are also logged into Menti, because we will still be asking you to rate this pitch. The next pitch is by Paul Sisnet. He's platform architect at Paywith.glass, and Paywith.glass is an intelligent global financial infrastructure. And that sounds amazing. I can't say too much about it more myself. I'm going to leave that to Paul. Paul, whenever you're ready, you can switch on your video and your microphone and take it from here.
Thanks, Michael. So, as Michael said, I am the platform architect with I'm platform architect with Paywith.glass, one of the co-founders of Satellite Moving Devices Group, which is the company behind Paywith.glass. What I'll speak about today is I'll give one of our use case examples with one of our partner companies. We'll be launching with them in Q1 of next year. So before I start the pitch, I'll just switch my camera off so that I'm not distracted. Let me just get the presentation up. 1 second.
You can keep your camera on if you like, Paul. It's always nice to, but it's up to you, of course. As long as you share the screen, that's most important.
Let's just make sure you guys are seeing everything correctly here. Yeah, okay. So yeah, that's fine. I'll turn it back on after. It's easier that way. Okay. And okay. So today's use case is going to be as part of inclusive banking, and it is with Inclusivity, which is one of our partners. So the number on the screen, 800 million. Number of monthly active TikTok users, and they can instantly send direct messages to their friends anywhere in the world for free and at any time. And it also happens to be the number of people on the planet who rely on money sent to them from family and friends abroad. For them, remittances are a lifeline that help pay for food, clothing, fuel, and basic necessities. But today, that money still isn't sent instantly or directly, and it certainly isn't sent. So I read a report recently on the situation across the African continent, and one of the people who knows this reality very, very well is Isaac Mutua, a Kenyan chef working in Durban, South Africa. Every month since 2015, he has been sending $300 back home to his wife, Naduka, who lives just outside Nairobi. Now, while Isaac and his wife both have smartphones and can both send instant messages to each other for free over the internet, even TikTok if they wanted, remittances are still a completely different story. Isaac has to go here, and he has to join a queue in order to send his money. That money can take anywhere from several minutes to hours or even days to get to Naduta. Now, that's not the end. She also has to make her own trip and stand in her own queue before she can get most of the cash. Now, when we think of remittances, we tend to think of a simple transfer from person A to person B, but that's actually just the surface. In reality, things are far more complicated, messy, and costly. And because of this, 14% of what Isaac sends doesn't actually reach his wife's hands. So that means that for the past 5 years, Isaac has paid enough in fees to buy these every single month. Or over a year, he could buy one of these each year. And if he continues to pay at the same rate for another 5 years, he actually could have owned this. So this is a global problem resulting from a much deeper issue, and it won't be solved by a new app or another card. It is an infrastructure problem that can only be solved by an infrastructure solution. And that is the very reason that for the last 5 years, our team has worked tirelessly to combine our proprietary data center technology with distributed ledger technology and artificial intelligence and our mobile super app engine to create Paywith.glass. So today I'm pleased to announce that we'll shortly be forming the Paywith.glass consortium to manage the deployment of our new technology. And from Q1 2021, we'll be ready to work with industry partners to integrate Paywith.glass support for e-commerce and point of sale solutions, Internet of Things, integration for mobile payments and mobile banking services. And we're also able to support at the time central bank digital currencies when they come up. So we'll be starting these integrations with, this is a project from an Estonian startup called Digitalia, and their partner networks across Africa, Central America, and South America. And the 15 fintechs and banks in this group will integrate Paywith.glass infrastructure, including our global settlement network and mobile application platform, banking and mobile money solutions. The objectives of this collaboration is to dramatically lower the costs of migrant cross-border remittances while bringing the conveniences of instant settlement, clearing, and directly app to app across providers and across currencies. The collaboration will begin with a limited 60,000 users over the first quarter, and we'll be scaling up the number of corridors and the number of users served across the 15 institutions to over 900,000 by the end of 2021. The built-in network-wide AML of Paywith.glass will cut substantial costs for money transfer operators, while the cross-provider support and e-commerce integration means that recipients can start to use their smartphones to make purchases directly with the funds that they have received. So no more queues to pick up cash. In fact, overall, digitalization of the processes significantly operating costs for institutions. So the partners in the inclusivity network will actually see their up. But our biggest KPO is to responsibly and sustainably lower the cost of migrant remittances below the United Nations Sustainable 10C. So according to the World Bank data, the average migrant remittance across the globe in 2019 was about $230. The average fees were about 7% globally, and they go as high as 25% depending on the country. So on average, it still costs about $16 today to remittance. So this means that with Paywith.glass, 900,000 people will be able to save nearly $14 every time they send money back home to their friends and family members. So to put that into perspective, even while increasing profit margins after a whole year, inclusivity would still save its users nearly $150 million in fees. So Paywith.glass, internet for the world's money, and for Isaac, it could be the difference between this and this. Okay, and we'll stop sharing and turn my camera back on. And if anyone has any questions, I am ready.
Thanks, Paul. Very clear presentation. Thank you for that. Let's see if any questions have come in through the chat. I can see there are already 2 questions. So the first one is by Harm Arts. Does the AI doing exactly? So that maybe what is the AI?
So the AI.
Yeah, please go ahead. So what is the AI doing exactly?
So the AI is actually the AI powers the transactions. Basically, an AI-powered high-frequency trading engine embedded into the system. So we're able to do cross-border transactions across currencies and calculating the best route for every transaction in real time. So there's no batch processing. It is continuous real-time, the entire global network. And we use AI to make that happen.
Then the AI is really selecting the best routes. It's looking for the best routes. All right, great.
Yes. Yes.
Second question, also by Harm Arts, is why not Bitcoin if the goal is cost reduction?
Because the goal is cost reduction. We built the very first version experiment back in 2011, 2012, using Bitcoin's blockchain. It took one transaction. And even today, even if you add Lightning, Bitcoin isn't cost effective enough to do the job. And in the case of what we're doing here, we're not distributed ledger to just do the job. Distributed ledger in our platform is only one part of the stack. Its job is to provide an immutable shared network for all participants. So it's just one tiny part. So the job of the distributed ledger, it needs to be fast, it needs to be reliable, and it needs to be something that doesn't cost a lot. So we actually have a private fork of Stellar running under the hood, where we've removed the token, native token, since we don't need it. Remove the fees for transactions because there's no need for that.
All right, very clear. Thanks for answering that. Then there's another question from Harkishan Bania asking, what's your revenue model? I also see that Harm Arts, I'm not sure if it's correct, but they answered the question saying the revenue model is a difference between the $16 and the $13 from your presentation.
So no, the revenue model is not the difference. The difference between the $16 and the $13 is well, obviously the $13 is what's being saved by the customer. The extra money between the 13 and the 16 is actually what the customer ends up paying for the cost of remittances down to 1% in our platform. The revenue model for us is a license model. We are actually a technology company. As I mentioned in the beginning, the company is Satellite Moving Devices Group. We're a Dutch fintech startup. We're a technology company. All we do is we build the technology, make sure it works, maintain it. The revenue is actually generated through licenses to the Paywith.glass consortium. And it's a flat rate for unlimited access to regulated entities, so fintechs, banks. We would love to have central banks on board because the system, as I mentioned, can support central bank digital currencies, issuance, and management and transactions. So we are making our revenue by charging a flat rate for membership, make sure everyone follows the rules. But as SMD Group, we make our revenue by licensing that technology and licensing the
nice. So you don't have any incentives for doing more business, for instance, doing more transactions. It's purely the licensing. Great. All right, last question from Ruud van Huizen. Yes. How do you deal with FX rates?
So the system reads FX rates in real time from multiple external sources, mainly. So we actually have real-time FX across the entire system. And because all we're basically doing is we're matching the request, the demand and request within the system. As I mentioned, there's an embedded high frequency. So it basically looks at the exchange rate, looks at what someone's requesting on one side or what someone's sending on one side and where it's going and what currency it's going to. And it matches the amount that needs to be transacted and performs a swap within the platform. So we're using tokenized assets and we're swapping similar to how an exchange would actually do it, but we're doing it with exchange rates that come from external sources, right, like central banks.
Okay, that's very clear. In the meantime, I would still like to ask everybody to go to menti.com and rate the pitch from Paul. Let me see, are there any more questions? No, I think we answered most of them. No, I think everything was clear, Paul. So thanks a lot for that. Thanks a lot for the presentation. It was really really clear. And for answering the questions.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, then I hope you all submitted your rating. Bye, Paul. Thanks. I hope you all submitted your rating through menti.com. I hope you also got the opportunity to answer the follow-up question in menti.com, where you give us a little bit of feedback on Holland FinTech. And then I think it's time for the next slide. Yes, so this slide, if you can go back one. So there were three questions in Menti. First of all, rate the pitch of Paul. Then the question was to give us a little bit of feedback. And then we would like to ask you to submit your email addresses, because if we have your email addresses, we can share some of the presentations so you can look through them in your own time. I'm not sure if there's still a possibility to share. Otherwise, feel free to send us an email as well, and we'll make sure that you get the content. That would be great. Okay, and then the moment most of you have been waiting for, except for the pub quiz, of course. I think many of you also wait for that. I hope anyway. the best pitch of the day. So you all had the opportunity to vote for the best pitch. We had 3 amazing pitches today, and I just got the answers texted to me from my colleague for the best pitch, and the winner of today is Paywith.glass. Paul Sisnet, congratulations, you won for the best pitch today. Still a great job to all the other pitches as well. I think it was a really nice meetup, especially high quality from the pitches. Paul, if you still would like to take this opportunity to say a little thank you, then this is the moment.
Sure. Thank you very, very much. I'm not sure if here we go. Yeah, thank you very much. It was a pleasure to be a part of this. Thanks for inviting me, Michael. Thanks for the audience. But yeah, please feel free to check out our website. And if there are any fintechs or banks or representatives from even Swift, the audience who might be interested in working into collaboration. So onboarding won't happen until next year, but we are ready to start the conversations.
Great. Thanks a lot, Paul. And of course, also thank you to Tony and Eva from Togather, and thank you to Nikolai from Nucoro. All also very great presentations. It was a tight race, so good job on all of you. I do see that the person, Young Delicious, has not answered yet, so I'm not sure if they're still in the chat. I'm not sure what happened there, but the second place was for the ministry. I'm not sure if the ministry is in the chat. If the first place doesn't come to take their prize, I see a comment, they're too ashamed to come out, maybe. But if the ministry is in here and wants to come and pick up the prize, then for the second place, then this is the opportunity. Okay, so feel free to share in the chat. I think we have a few more slides to go through just to wrap up today's event. So these are all the channels through which you can follow us. LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, HollandFinTech.com, the website, of course, and we have 2 newsletters to keep you up to date on everything that's happening in the fintech ecosystem globally, as well as our own Holland FinTech ecosystem. Next slide, please. And we go to them, and there we are. And of course, the European FinTech Navigator, especially our members, they all know that the European FinTech Navigator is coming. We had the soft launch during Amsterdam FinTech Week, and the official launch is scheduled for the 20th of October. So in a little over a week, and then you'll also all get access to log in to edit your own profiles and update your own information. And we will create a lot of buzz around the launch as well. So we're definitely looking forward to that. And I think that's all I have left to share. I'm not going to keep you too long. So big thank you from Holland FinTech for joining us today. Thank you to all the pitchers for pitching today. Thank you for all the attendees for attending and for the nice dynamic engagement, asking your questions, talking to each other. Really happy to see that. If you still want to chat to anyone, you can click on their name. You have an option people as well to see everyone who joined, to send them a message. We even have a networking section on the left side, where you can it's kind of like blind dating with each other, and you have I think a 2-minute or a 1-minute period where you can chat with each other and then get connected to the next person. So thank you all very much for joining. Maybe I'll see you during the chat or at the networking session in Hopin, and otherwise I hope to see you next time. Thank you very much, and have a great weekend. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
On a summer evening, and it sounds like a song. I want more berries and that summer feeling. It's so wonderful and warm. Breathe me in, breathe me out. I don't know if I could ever go without. I'm just thinking out loud. I don't know if I could ever go without watermelon sugar high, watermelon sugar high, watermelon sugar high, watermelon sugar high, watermelon sugar strawberries. sunny summer evening.